Hey everyone, today I'm at the ANPC with Ruey-Leng and we're talking about Program 3 at Future Food Systems. So what's been happening at the ANPC?
Well, there's a lot been happening at the ANPC. Some of the projects are related to the Future Food Systems CRC project. In particular, we use the analytical instrument that we have at the ANPC and develop a number of different methods to profile or fingerprint the food that we eat. What I mean by fingerprint is that we are doing it a little bit more than what traditional food analysis would do, which means that we look beyond what is the carbohydrate amount or the protein or the fat amount in there. But instead, we wanted to look at what are the different chemical compounds in the food so that we can understand what's the potential impact once we consume those food.
So you've been basically creating a new way to profile food. What do you think the outcomes of those will be to, say, food industry food labeling?
Well, there's a number of different things. First of all, by knowing what are those different active ingredient or bioactive component, then the food industry can then utilize those informations to tell the consumer this food is high in a specific bioactive component, for example, polyphenol or inulin, some of these compounds that has been linked with potential health impact. And as at the other angle of what we wanted to look at, other than just looking at the biochemical compound of the food, is what happens when we do consume those food. Does it make us healthier or does it prevent us from developing a disease?
So the food industry has been using inulin for many years as an ingredient, particularly in cereals and into drink and beverage products. But you're going back to the produce. What's some of the produce that you've been analysing?
As part of the CRC program, we're currently working with a farmer down in Denmark that their family has been growing these inulin-based protein plants such as elephant garlic, Jerusalem artichoke, globe artichoke, as well as yacon, for example, to look at these different plant products. The purpose for our analysis is to understand this inulin compound. Although when we talk about inulin, to us, we probably just think about one molecule, but actually it's a very complex molecule. It's a large molecule. So what we noticed based on the method that we have developed was that the inulin compound in the yacon is very, very different to the elephant garlic. The sizes of the inulin compound in elephant garlic is much longer, and when we cook them, the impact of what happened to this inulin compound is also being affected differently compared to different products. We actually also have a small pilot study to see what happens when we ingest those and how quickly they go down to our gut and it's being digested by our gut. So by understanding and profile or fingerprint this compound more in depth, we now can understand how is that going to help us to impact our health in a more molecular level, really.
And that's one of the great things about ANPC as a collaborative innovation precinct, is that you can actually do the clinical trials with the participants or the patients, as well as the heavy chemistry. Tell me about how that unique opportunity here at ANPC, really lets you push the boundaries.
I guess this actually become really fantastic platform because we have the analytical power, as you said, that is available, coupled with the connection with the CRC, where they introduce us to the relevant industry, where they can tell us specifically what are the issues or problem that they currently encounter, and then for us as a research scientist, how we can use our technique to help them to address that issue. Because the first thing that we as a researcher want to do is to perform the kind of research that will have a direct benefit to the consumer or the industry, and that helps us in terms of our translation angle of that work. So that part of the work really works well, and because the bread and butter of our research work pretty much start from understanding what happened to the food that we eat, are they giving us the health benefit, and our technology have been standardized, validated to a way that we have been running thousands and thousands of samples to evaluate biological specimen, and the kind of information that we obtain is also much richer compared to traditional methods. We can give you 112 different parameters. What it means is that we can tell you what type of the LDL or the HDL, the good and the bad cholesterol, how they affect you And so it's much more information. And because where we are sitting, we can collaborate with the clinician directly to get access to patient, as well as getting the community support by recruiting general public, potential volunteers. So it's enrich the scientific work that we are doing, not just about the food, but what's the health impact.
That's fantastic. The other thing that you're doing in the complete other direction is you're actually building a bridge with industry. So I've been on a tour and seen all of the very, very expensive and high-tech NMR equipment, but you're also connecting that for industry with small bench scale. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
The bench scale instrument, we pretty much adopting it from analysis of food to human. The whole principle is that, yes, we have all those very expensive instruments, and which means that you will need to pay for specialists to maintain them, special equipment to make sure that the instrument run properly, and then the data that we generated would be very difficult to understand unless you have undergone specific training. So what we have done, the approach that we're doing is that we use this high-end instrument giving us the information that we want, and then once we know what is the marker, let's call it something, a molecule that I'm interested to evaluate, to look at it, if that's the compound that making the difference, then we transfer it to what you call it as a benchtop instrument, which means that those instrument is very easy to use. They sit on top of a bench, and all you need to do is plug in and analyze it, and it will just tell you the result on that particular compound. So it's getting rid of all those other informations that we don't need, but tell us very quickly, does my sample contain inulin? And it will just say yes or no, giving you as an example.
That is fantastic. So that allows industry to be able to do real-time analysis at the manufacturing site.
Correct.
And be connected to a world-class facility here in Perth.
Yeah, and then the analysis that we've done will be validated properly as well, and quite a lot of the work that we are doing is actually in collaborations with the analytical instrument manufacturer. So they are also very keen to work with us because that will help them to make the applications of the instrument even wider as well.
And that's leading to the possibility of some really exciting food industry claims. I know that you're doing a project with apples and pears to demonstrate just the ability of this equipment to be able to differentiate between two pieces of produce and the benefits of those. That's really a demonstration for other industry sectors to be able to test their products against others within the market and to show that there's some health benefits about that. Tell me about the apple and pear project.
Okay, the apple and pear project I think is a really good example to illustrate how well the whole CRC system works really, because it consists of two key components. The first component is that it's pretty much focused on what the industry needs and how we can add value to the product using the ANA BP01 apple variety, which is the Bravo apple that we currently can purchase from the supermarket. So what we're doing is that currently the industry only export the fruit and there's no any other product. They were really keen to export fruit juices, apple juice, using the same variety, but they're having problems in terms of the shelf lives are too short. That is a logistical nightmare if you only have a shelf life of 1 week. So in collaborations with the SIF capability down in the Numbila, which they have a HPP, high processing pressure instrument, essentially the method is to use a non-thermal method to delay the microorganism growth and extend the shelf life. It is without any additive or anything like that. It's just pure cold-pressed apple juice, and simply by doing that, we were able to extend the shelf life by several weeks. This means that the industry can now export the apple juice to Asia country as well as to sell it in the supermarket. And in fact, we are very, very happy with the project so far because the Selenium juice has just been launched in the Q2 a few weeks ago. So that's the first product in the pipeline that we have already produced, and there are a number of other products that we are currently testing as well. So that from that angle, we definitely achieving one of the issue that industry currently facing. And flip it on to the second part of the project is we wanted to look at what's the health benefit of eating this Bravo apple. The Bravo apple, you might have noticed, is very distinctive in terms of the skin color, which is darker in burgundy color because of the polyphenol contents in there. So what the industry wanted to know is, by having this additional polyphenol compound, does it help us to prevent any of those chronic disease like heart disease or diabetes, because some of these polyphenol compounds in fact have been linked to preventing this sort of disease. So as part of our project, we therefore decided to recruit 50 individuals. They will need to consume apple on a daily basis, and we also have another control fruit that have less amount of polyphenol, and to see whether after consuming the fruit for 8 weeks, do they actually reduce those disease risk factor. So this study is currently ongoing. We don't know what's the result yet, but I'm hopeful that by the end of this year we would have finished the recruitment and hopefully find out what's the outcome to the study.
That's so exciting. So we're based in a health precinct. There is a hospital next door creating a food product and also having it connected directly to health and wellness outcomes.
Yep.
So that is amazing, and just shows that the power of collaboration and the power of innovation precincts can really push the envelope on what's future food going to be for 2030 and beyond.
Yeah, and I think that is a really good example to illustrate how we can use a simple product, apple, something that we are very familiar with on a daily basis, to having new product that could benefit the farmer, the grower and the industry, new products for other people to enjoy the food, and to actually really not so much as putting a claim, but trying to understand whether the apple actually have those health benefits that we are not sure of.
Fantastic. So thank you very much for this little chat, and look forward to seeing what's next at AMPC in the future.